The year is 1967, and the United States just got put into a total panic over air superiority. With learning that the F-4 Phantom is an idea that only works on paper, and even more bad news, the Soviet Union has just unveiled a new fighter that is meant to dominate the skies. And with nothing to combat it, the United States is put into a corner. But in that corner, it will create an air superiority fighter that will be known as the greatest fighter the world has ever seen, and put the Soviet Unions as the one in the complete and total panic. What's up, guys? It's Freedom, and today we're going to be talking about the greatest jet fighter that has ever been created by the United States. I'm not talking about you, Raptor. Come back when your KD ratio is filled with more than balloons. Today we're going to be talking about the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Strike Eagle, an aircraft that was unmatched in the sky and achieved over 100 air battle wins with no losses whatsoever. Now, you may be wondering, why was this aircraft created? How was this aircraft created? And today, I'm going to explain this all in the History Habitat. After the Korean War and Vietnam broke out, the United States had developed new air technology. And with this new air technology, they believed that dogfighting had become a thing of the past, that it would be completely obsolete and no longer needed, as now it has technology that would allow air fighters to just target air targets from so far out that their gun wouldn't matter anymore. They tried this new technology with the F-4 Phantom, an aircraft that wasn't really meant to maneuver, but it was extremely fast, extremely heavy, and loaded down with weapons and new radar technologies. However, they would learn that this new fighter would be ineffective, as with so many friendlies flying around the sky, they couldn't identify which target was friendly and which target was an enemy. Therefore, they would have to get up close and personal in order to identify them, which proved very difficult for the F-4 Phantom to handle, since it was made to target air fighters from far out. But now that it's getting up close and personal, it's learning that maybe, just maybe, the F-4 Phantom doesn't work unless on paper. With the F-4 Phantom proven completely unusable, the Air Force tries to scramble for solutions. They put 20mm Gatling guns on the F-4 Phantom and try to train the pilots to be in close combat with the Soviet Union's MiGs. However, this is proven to be in vain, as these are all just temporary solutions to a problem that's going to last them throughout the Cold War. And even so, even if the F-4s don't have to get up close, their missiles show a pathetic 14% success rate after locked. They scramble for ideas, but they need to accept that the F-4 Phantom can never be used as a fighter. This is all putting the United States in a very scary spot, especially after the Soviet Union unveils its new fighter, the MiG-25 Foxbat, which is proven to be faster and able to outclimb any other aircraft that the United States has ever created. And with this, the Air Force realizes that we don't have a fighter that is capable of combating the Foxbat. So the Air Force, in response, gets their best engineers, Fairchild, North American, and McDonnell Douglas, to submit their responses to the MiG-25 Foxbat to see if they have a solution to this problem that can win the Cold War. With all the companies submitting their solutions, the Air Force decides to take the side of McDonnell Douglas, who has created the F-15 Eagle. And with all the man hours already put into the project and it already designed, they could start producing this immediately. And what they learn is that this fighter is a game changer. With all the Soviet records already put out that were all broken by the MiG-25, the United States Air Force now has a fighter that is capable of responding to the aircraft. And with them in mass production, with the A's and the B models, they decide to try to break all these records. They take an F-15 and strip of it anything not completely necessary in combat, even taking its paint off to make it as light as they possibly can. With that, they learn that this aircraft is capable of breaking the sound barrier immediately after takeoff while accelerating straight upwards. After this, not only does it break all the Soviet records, it shatters them. And with this, the United States realized it has finally created a strike jet capable of destroying anything that the Soviet Union puts out. And this will all be proved completely true once the United States manages to get their hands on one of the MiG-25s that are supposed to be the greatest fighter that had ever been created. During the height of the Cold War, Lieutenant Viktor Belenko decided he no longer wanted to fight for the Soviet Union and decided to sneak his MiG-25 out of a Soviet airbase and land on a civilian airbase in Japan. With this, he defects to America. And with that, the United States can finally get an up-close look at the notorious MiG-25, which they learn isn't so notorious. With nickel airframe, they learn that this is 2 times as heavier as the Strike Eagle. And with that, the wings aren't meant for maneuverability, but they need it to keep the MiG-25 in the air. This couldn't maneuver at all, even it being so fast. And even the radar wasn't what America thought it would be, because the radar can't even see under the MiG-25, meaning if any aircraft were to fly under its horizon, the MiG-25 simply wouldn't know it was there unless it was able to see from its canopy, which wasn't very effective since it only had a 180 degree to view compared to the F-15's 360 degree to view they made when they put the canopy on top. So now, America has learned that the MiG-25 was a propaganda-driven piece of shit. And with that, now it's the Soviet Union's turn to panic, with America claiming the F-15 as the greatest air superiority fighter ever created. But don't worry, F-22, you and Lockheed Martin, there's still room for you. I mean, if everyone decides to weaponize weather balloons. Yes. That is not a joke. I know what you're saying, that it wasn't a weather balloon China sent. Yes, but in the panic over weather balloons, you can research this, the F-22 shot down an actual weather balloon flown by hobbyists. The balloon costs about $14. So, as proper fashion, the United States government decides to send a multi-$100 million piece of aircraft to use up $85,000 worth of jet fuel to fire a $400,000 AIM-9X Sidewinder at a weather balloon. God damn, I love this fucking country. And with that, I leave you a oversimplified version of the history of the F-15 Strike Eagle. If you want to learn more information, trust me, there are better videos and sources on the internet than me. I'm just some libertarian jackass just rambling his mouth all the time. And anyone who's ever seen this channel for any length of time knows that. So I leave you with that, and as always, enjoy your day, even though you probably hate me.